Welcome back to Baking It Down, presented by the Waffle House Football League. This week, I am your host, Todd, owner of the Big Brown Decks, and this week, we had a mix of some close games along with some massive blowouts, so let's get to it. First, we see the Denver Chicken Nuggets take on the KC Killers in a matchup where KC was able to walk through thanks to this week's lowest scoring performance from the Nugs. If you look at it, the Nugs are off to the worst start in the WHFL. I personally believe that some dire changes needed, or else we're going to see a catastrophic failure from the Nugs. We then move to this week's tightest matchup between Raw Sauce Gillette and the Houston Happy Endings, where we would not be seeing a happy ending this week in Houston as Raw Sauce takes the edge. Personally, I feel bad for Houston as they should have had this week in the bag, but an explosive 20 points from kicker Co was able to keep Gillette on top. Our next matchup is between the Big Brown Decks and the New Orleans Paints, where we find the Paints handing Dak his third straight loss with a big performance from Alvin Kamara. Personally, this loss hurts for me. I take full responsibility for my team and the faults. I feel like injuries have held us back and left our franchise in a bad spot. So, feel free to drop a few trade offers in my inbox because we desperately need some change. Our fourth matchup of the week is Show Me Your TDs and Travis's Cool Team, where we are shown just how powerful of a team TDs has as CJ Stroud puts up big numbers and helps his team to over a 20-point victory. In a matchup where Trav's team was supposed to be the winner, this week's was difficult as he saw underperformances from all but two of his players while leaving higher performing players on his bench. Do better. We next saw Sean's standout team take on the Boone Valley Bitches in a matchup where Boone was unable to find their first win of the season, even though they were also the favorites this week. Jonathan Taylor was able to help put his team on his back and will Sean's team to a victory this week. Clearly, Boone hasn't quite figured this winning thing out this year, and they may need to shake things up or risk being stuck in the loser's bracket for his second straight year. And finally, our blowout of this week comes from a matchup between Brock's bold team and the Las Vegas Rancheros, where we see a week high of 140 points and a 45-point difference being put up by Brock, as Justin Fields and Derrick Henry both put up 30-point-plus performances to help obliterate Las Vegas. Las Vegas honestly can't be all that upset after this L, but after being predicted the league's best team in the preseason, there might need to be a quick turnaround. Christian McCaffrey, he ain't coming back anytime soon. You might have Cooper Kupp coming back, but we need to see some changes here real quick. And that wraps up the games from last week. Let's go take a look at the changes in the league standings, where we see the top remain unchanged as Brock, the Paints, and TDs all sit up top. We now see changes as Gillette slides up 3 slots to the 4, Rancheros moves down to the 5, KC sliding up 2 slots to the 6, Travis and Houston both going down 2 to 7th and 8th respectively, Sean and Dak swapping spots for 9th and 10th, and Boone and Denver remaining unchanged as they sit in 11th and 12th. And now we're going to move on to this upcoming week's matchups, where we see the Las Vegas Rancheros take on the Big Brown Decks, Show Me Your TDs versus the Denver Chicken Nuggets, Boone Valley Bitches versus Raw Sauce Gillette, Trav's Cool Team versus Sean's Standout Team, the New Orleans Paints versus the Houston Happy Endings, and this week's matchup of the week being our 1-6 matchup between Brock's bold team and the KC Killers. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Baking It Down, presented by the Waffle House Football League. I am your host, Todd of the Big Brown Decks, wishing you the best of luck in this upcoming week.